Hi everyone and welcome to the latest edition of the Bison Video Blog. Back on Mondays with one Jeff Kolpack. I'm Izzo as we get set to sink our teeth into basketball season. It seems fitting since basketball season is nearly over with 2/3 of the season basically done. That's the way things roll. We're talking football right out of the gates, Jeffrey, because less than a half hour ago, NDSU announces that head football coach Chris Klieman receives a 2-year contract extension that'll take it through 2021. Originally, he signed the deal. Obviously, we took over in December of 2013, but after 1 year, wins the championship and gets a 2-year extension. What do you make of this?
Well, interesting that it came perhaps right after Brock Spack got his contract extension not too long ago. Brock, the Illinois State coach, was re-upped last week for somewhere north of $300,000 around that area. Chris's base salary is $326,000. We don't know right now at press time if the terms have increased. Well, we'll work on that obviously, but. It's probably interesting that you do it after 1 year. I've mixed emotions on this. Okay, I'll give you two scenarios. One, Carolyn Dehoff, the NDSU women's basketball coach, got an extension, I believe, after 1 year. Now, is 1 year enough to prove yourself? Obviously, I think Matt Larson has seen enough of his recruiting ability to say, you know what, this guy, I see enough of the way he operates. I see the way he can coach. I see the way he can do adjustments, in-game adjustments, interacts with staff, all those things. I do know Chris has an impeccable reputation within the athletic department. I think all that played into it. But still, 1 year, it's a little soon.
Some would say, detractors of the argument, I guess the counterpoint to that would say, let's see how his players play out. Those are the recruits that he won with, you could argue, are Craig Bowles recruits. To see in 2015, that's going to be more of Klieman's players. I guess that'd be the counter argument to what you're saying.
Maybe then you're waiting too long.
Maybe.
So because you have to wait 2-3 years before you really see how his recruits pan out. But again, I got to believe Matt Larson's been on the job a few months. He knows football. He played football. He oversaw football at Stony Brook. I think he knows a good coach when he sees it.
Now, some of our insightful tweeters at me say, let's see if hopefully he lasts longer than when Craig Bowl got his last extension, because fans will remember that Bowl got his extension in January of 2013, and of course he was gone by the end of that season.
Right, and one of the things we don't know yet is the buyout increase. Does it decrease over time? Those are details that are not, you're never going to see them in a release, but it's important nonetheless because it's language. When lawyers do these things, okay? So when lawyers construct all the language, they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's.
You mentioned, I think the one word is impeccable, and that's what his reputation is, Klieman's is, around the athletic department. He's built a defense in 2012 and 2013, and then taking that to the next level at head coach. And we've seen that from the recruits we talk with. We talked with Trenton Mooney this past weekend, that how much he relates to this staff and to Klieman. And I think what you mentioned, I think that goes a lot into it of why they bought into this as well.
Signing day is just so right around the corner. And, here's another one today, Michael Veldman. Switches from Western Illinois. Actually talked with Matt not too long ago. He's excited. Let him make his own choice. He goes, Michael, it's your deal. He originally committed to Western Illinois. And the Bison staff, again, nothing's ever set.
See, now this is the counterpoint to my argument I was making on the radio show on Saturday.
Nobody's innocent in this whole
No, that's exactly right. And to think that NDSU is crystal clean in this is just pie in the sky kind of talk. Because now Veldman is one of those guys that wasn't sure. So he doesn't fall in the argument of, I'm saying, if a kid is ready to go, let him sign on that day. This signing day thing business has been completely blown up by the media over the last couple of years. We're not innocent in this whatsoever, I'll say that. Especially of those that make them on public.
Well, this is going to be the Izzo stipulation in the NCAA new rules.
Bylaws.
The bylaws.
Please take that into consideration. I just think that, and coaches I've talked to agree with me on that point. If a kid is ready to go, then let him sign. Obviously, he wasn't, because NDSU came in, and James Hendricks is the same way, the kid out of Bemidji who we talked with as well, that switched. He was offered by Duluth. That's a little bit of a different story. He was a Division II to go for Division I. But Veldman has obviously the pedigree. He's got plenty of bloodlines that went to NDSU, Matt being obviously the biggest one. His dad played at MSUM and played with the Cowboys. Quarterback, though, as well. What do you make of that? Another QB for this class.
Well, will he stay at quarterback? We don't know. He's a 6'4" athlete. I saw some of his tape on Huddle. That brings him to 4 quarterbacks. Again, I don't know this. I haven't talked to him, but we hope to. That where do you see yourself, fit? Interesting talking to Matt, and he laid it on the line to Michael. He said, first of all, you need to be happy off the field. You need to be comfortable off the field. You have to see yourself where you're successful off the field before you can get into the football thing. So it's not like older brother said, no, come on, you gotta go where I went.
Right.
I think it was anything but.
Let's talk some hoops, shall we? Since we're near February 1st come Sunday, which means we're about a month and a half away from the madness starting in Sioux Falls. The Bison men split on the road this weekend. They win a huge game at IUPUI, winning in overtime on Thursday, and then fall at Fort Wayne. Second straight year, actually, they've lost to the Dons on the road. Splits are always good, especially with a team like this. Grade the weekend. How you think NDSU did?
I watched this game against IUPUI in the new arena at the fairgrounds.
With 8 people there.
There's 1,200 people listed or announced attendance at 1,200. Right. And like I said, it was in front of dozens. Look at that. There's
nobody there.
There's nobody there. But Bison didn't play that well. That was a grind-out win. I thought they made some mistakes down the stretch that they were almost lucky to get by with, and then went into overtime and took over. I think it proved that A.J. Jacobson, although he made some mistakes, can really do something at this level. And Lawrence Alexander, what can you say about number 12 right there?
I don't know where they would be without them. Now, they fell on Saturday night at Fort Wayne. That's a tough place to play over the last couple of years. And the Dons, everybody might forget, they were picked to win the league and came in at last place. So that was almost a must-win game for them to get to 2-5.
It doesn't matter if you're in first or last place in this league right now. It just does not. It's going to be, when it comes time to the playoffs and when it comes time to Sioux Falls time, it's not going to be who's better in terms of talent. It's going to be who's hot and who's playing together the best.
The biggest thing that's different about this year than last year, Jeff, there's no bye for the first place team like there was last year because of the odd number of teams. There were 7 last year. Now with Oral Roberts back in the league, there's a full 8 in the league. So you're playing to start the day. And if you don't finish first or second, as you mentioned, you got to play 3 straight days.
And you got to play 3 straight days. That's tough. It's tough to.
No one's done that. No one's won it yet.
No one's done that, right? It's tough to win 3 in a row in that environment. But maybe this is the year because everybody is so mediocre.
Yeah, I agree.
They are. It's just NDSU has the most upside because they're one of the youngest teams. Yeah. They have to replace LA next year, but they hit it right to
be mediocre.
Well, to rebuild. They absolutely hit it perfect.
Yeah.
To lose 7 seniors, 6 seniors. The player of the year, whichever one you want, Trayvon Wright or
Marshall Bjorklund or Taylor
Braun.
Yeah.
I mean, all 3 have legitimate claims. You lose guys like that, they pick the perfect time to get a new team going.
South Dakota State is a half game ahead of the Bison after they won at Oral Roberts, a huge win for them. They're at 6-2. The Bison host Denver on Thursday, then play at Macomb, one of your favorite gyms at Western Illinois, on Super Bowl Sunday. The Bison women, halfway through the Summit League schedule, have almost as many wins in conference as they did all of last year. They're 5-3. I think that it's all coaching by Maren Walseth this year.
It sure seems like it. We've been saying it all year. They're playing much better. They need production from Marina Whittle right there in points, rebounds, the all-around game. And senior here, Brooke Lamar, is having a fantastic season. Player of the year, hands down.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, there's nobody. South Dakota State's got a little more balance and better talent. South Dakota, a little more balance and some better talent. But as far as carrying her team, number 4 has really done it.
Number 11 we saw in the highlights is true freshman Taylor Thunstead, who's been really good as well. I know you saw the game against Fort Wayne where she shot lights out. Holly Johnson is really developing into her own, and what Maren Walseth told us on a radio show got her body into a form where she could be a contributor, and she's been a double-double machine for the Minot product.
Yeah, I think she's played better this year than a lot of people expected. But Taylor Thunstead's interesting. She's got a great shot. And she's a freshman, and to contribute right away is somewhat tough, but I see her as just coming on and on. She may be one of those recruits they need that just develops and develops.
She's not afraid to shoot it wherever either. On the floor, she'll shoot wherever, and that's the Bison fans have seen that through the first 2 months of the season.
Though, is to take the right shot. I think that's what Maren Walseth is trying to get her to do.
The Bison women heading out on the road as well this upcoming weekend. We have a huge week planned. Signing day, as Jeff mentioned, is a week from Wednesday. We've got a full signing day show to break down who's signing with NDSU. Of course, that could change between now and next Wednesday. We'll break down the incoming recruits as well.
On the radio show, 9 to 11 on WDAY AM. Jay Bartley is going to join us again, and Big E. And it's going to be it'll be Bison recruiting A to Z.
It's interesting because NDSU had a lot of guys already signed up before the season started. Now with Michael Velbin, that's 24. If they're not done, I don't know how much more they can take on right now.
Where's the money? You're right. Where's the money coming from? You're always going to lose a couple players, and they lost, 3 since the season ended? So
4 now. They're up to 4. Yes.
So that there was perhaps some money that opened up.
That is freed up to give them a couple extra scholarships. Plenty more on that. Make sure you check out Inforum.com and WDAY.com as the week develops. For Jeff Kolpack, I'm Dom Izzo. That's the latest edition of the Bison Video Blog.